It's the Andrew Christopher Show.
All right, you guys, another episode.
With Andrew Christopher, ho, ho, ho.
For the first time, we've got a guest in studio coming to join me.
Show.
Mr. Chris Bertram, everybody.
But really we call it the AC Show. Yeah, we really call it the AC Show.
My man.
Really call it the AC Show.
Good to see you. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great. How are you, Andrew?
Fantastic.
I like
the
that
AC
song,
show.
by the way.
Yeah, I did that right here.
Really?
The story about that, I did it just like 5 different tracks on the guitar. Played the drums on the guitar, kind of little whatever. And
It sounds like you had Tenacious D in here helping you.
I like that, actually. That's a good... yeah, I appreciate that. So welcome, everybody. The second episode of the AC Show. Thanks for checking out the first one. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, continue, share it around. Subscribe on YouTube. If you're just listening, maybe go to YouTube, check out the video. We're going to have a pretty cool video at the end of this one. We'll save that. We'll talk about it a little more later.
A live experiment.
I know. I'm pretty excited. I'm kind of nervous in case it doesn't work, but
I think we're going to make it happen.
we'll make it happen for sure. So, Chris, first off, my wife had an issue. Can you tell her how clean the house is?
Oh, yeah. So I got a tour of the house before we came down here, and I can report were you supposed to clean the house this morning?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's obviously been done. I thought there had been a maid here.
I
So,
know,
Jamie,
right?
it's all good.
Yeah. And so this just further continues the theory that my wife might possibly have a thing for you, because she was very worried. She was like, Chris is coming over. You got to clean the house, make sure everything looks good.
Yeah. I was a
my
little
underwear
disappointed
away.
she wasn't here today, actually.
Yeah, of course. She's working. Somebody's got to make money while I sit here and do this.
Speaking of that, it occurred to me that listening to the first couple of Between Sets podcasts, Dylan's job is sort of to stir up controversy.
I was wondering that. Like, he's always got something to jab at me or something to say.
Yeah, such an unassuming guy, but he's you got to be careful of that Dylan character.
Yeah, he's a good guy, though. But yeah, Between Sets is the other podcast that I do with co-host Dylan Waitman, if you want to check that one out. But for now, I wanted to introduce a little segment I'm going to be doing, starting off most of my podcasts with a segment called Family Time, because family is very important. A lot of the time you might hear me bitching about stuff, but today I've got some very awesome news. We're expecting another baby coming in June. We just announced it on Facebook and everything. So we're pretty stoked about that. Pretty
Unbelievable.
happy. I know.
Congratulations.
It'll be our third, and hoping for a boy this time.
Is it too soon to make a joke about Jamie and me?
Just let me enjoy this for a little longer, anyways.
Gotcha. That's amazing news. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. And we're actually going to find out on Sunday. This will be released on Sunday, and as you're watching this, we'll probably be finding out if it's a boy or a girl.
There's going to be a gender reveal party?
Yeah. We're going to do the golf ball thing.
Oh, nice.
You know how you get a pink or a blue exploding golf ball?
Yeah, I like it. By the way, so I should say that this was, I know that you're saying this publicly maybe for the first time, but you kind of let me in on the secret a little while ago. So I actually took the liberty of bringing you your first present for the youngster.
Did you?
I did.
That's awesome.
So
Oh my God.
for the people who are listening and not watching, I decided to bring in a little infant Calgary Flames t-shirt with the one and only Johnny Gaudreau, the greatest hockey player
Johnny
in the
Hockey.
NHL. Yeah, Connor McWhat.
Yeah.
It's Johnny Gaudreau, and I figured that you don't want to saddle another child with a life of misery. So you might as well get them off on the right foot and get behind a team that might actually give them some pleasure in their life.
This might actually work well, because we were going to go with the cloth diapers. So I'm sure we can pin that up some way.
Absolutely.
I appreciate that, though. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I do respect what Johnny Gaudreau is doing. This is pretty incredible.
Yeah.
And I'm just stoked because it shows that someone like Elias Pettersson can take over the league and dominate when he's only 150 pounds. or
Have
whatever.
you, as Canucks fans, figured out yet how to pronounce his last name properly? Because is it Peterson or Pettersson? I'm hearing both, and shouldn't we sort that out before we start anointing him as the next Wayne Gretzky?
It's Pedersen. I think it's got to be.
Okay.
I think that's what he said in an interview. He was like, "Hey, Canada, it's Pedersen." He's such a cool guy in those interviews.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
such a funny, like very subtle, but takes little jabs. He's like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah, I think he's good. I think he's good for your team, but the Canucks, I know we've had this discussion before. They are legitimately my least favorite, not only team in the NHL, but maybe professional sports franchise.
Well,
What's it like to be a Canucks fan?
Man, honestly, I'm feeling pretty good this year.
Yeah?
I do. I see a lot of promise, a lot of, obviously, Pedersen's dominating out there.
Yeah.
Like pretty much most games, he's the best player on the ice, if not second best,
Yeah.
Maybe if he's playing Johnny Hockey, but
He's a good player, but I could see it in your eyes, the same look I see in most Canucks fans. There's a trepidation there. There's an uncertainty there. You just can't get too excited, right? Like, I get this. I'm a Flames fan. They're not exactly the Detroit Red Wings, but you're scared. You don't really believe it. And all this great stuff you're saying, you don't really believe it.
I think I do. I mean, there's a little skepticism still about the blue line. That's all I would say is, we need one of those prospects to pan out. But I mean, Quinn Hughes coming up, like everything's pointing to him being a stud back there.
Yeah.
So I think we'll.
You think this is the guy who's going to bring it home for you? Pedersen?
Pedersen, Quinn Hughes. I mean, Besser's a beauty, right? He's still just going to get better and better. Bo Horvat's my favorite player for sure, still by far. Such a hard worker.
Yeah.
Like give him the C already, right?
I would agree with that. The funny thing is, like, I know that it's easy for me to sit back and take shots at the Canucks.
Just because you guys are having a good year.
We're having a good year, but I think more than that, I think the thing that I always debate with Canucks fans about is, as a Flames fan, like I grew up in Calgary and I was in Calgary in 1989, the year we won the Stanley Cup.
Okay, yeah.
So
you got something
we
to cheer
have
about.
that, right? Like
Not like Dylan and his Edmonton Oilers when, what have they done since he's been alive?
But I'll tell you that he's got a point because something happens to you when your team wins the Stanley Cup.
It's
like,
coming. Okay. I don't want to talk about that.
I want to keep talking about it. It's okay. It's like losing your virginity in professional sports. Like once you have that stat, you just kind of relax a little bit. And Canucks fans have that look in their eyes that you have right now. It's just,
I know, we need it.
I think Canucks fans, I always say, have like the bluest balls in all of professional sports. They just have never gotten the deal done.
But imagine when it happens.
Oh, I know.
It's gonna happen.
It's gonna be crazy.
In the infinity of time.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen.
Okay. Well, let's see if
And I'm gonna take,
next Wayne
I'm gonna
Gretzky
take
can bring
an
it home
entire
for you.
month off. Like I'm gonna go Alex Ovechkin style, partying when the Canucks finally win the cup.
All right.
A month off work, or just showing up to work hammered drunk.
Yeah. In the meantime, get that on your new child, okay? So they can have something to look forward to in life.
And back to family time. One more announcement. We got 2 cats, which I'm not very happy about. We had a cat, and so this is the thing. Like whatever. I love dogs. I would love to have a dog, like an outside dog. I said this on the last Between Sets. Animals are probably supposed to be outside.
Yeah.
I think that's what they were made for.
Yeah.
The cat thing. We had a cat. Got hit by a car.
Actually?
Yeah, this was like last Christmas. We got a cat, so it got outside, and like 6 months later,
Maybe
it
they
was gone.
shouldn't be outside.
Well, I guess whatever.
So how'd you go from 0 to 2?
That's what I'm asking, and I still haven't asked my wife because I'm just planning because she didn't even ask me about getting another cat.
Yeah.
She was like, "So I got another cat."
Yeah.
Singular. Mm-hmm. And then she was like, "Okay, I'm going to get the surprise for Jaden, our 10-year-old, who's really close to Bowie. Bowie was the first cat,
Okay.
so it was pretty hard on her."
Yeah.
So she says, "I'm going to get this surprise," and so she comes home, and I'm like, "Okay, well, I'm going to come see it." And I walk in the room, and she says, yeah, there's 2. They came as a package because they're brothers."
Were they kittens?
Yeah, so they're kittens.
Okay. Where are they?
I know they're upstairs in Jaden's room. They want to keep them locked in there or
Okay.
something for now
Yeah.
because I think they were abandoned, and so they're really like if I go in there, they're just
Yeah.
hissing at me or whatever.
Yeah.
So already
Cats are
I don't
cool.
like these. I guess they're fine, but
We used to have a couple of cats. I like cats.
she didn't even ask me.
Yeah.
Like didn't even bring it up. Mm-hmm. We're not allowed pets here. If my landlord's listening,
Yeah.
we're getting kicked out.
Yeah. Well, did you ask her if you could put that dartboard up outside? Mm-hmm. Oh, you did? Okay.
That's why we moved here. She was like, "You can put your dartboard out there." I was
Out
like,
there.
"Sold."
You said tell her she can put her cats out there.
Yeah, you could put your cats out there. So anyway, 2 instead of 1 or even none that I knew about. So I'm just kind of plotting. I'm like, okay, what can I'm going to write like a contract and be like, you got these cats without asking me. So here's what I get to do.
There you go. Put it in the bank.
It's probably going to involve a golf trip if you're
Absolutely
up for it.
Yeah, that's kind of the strategy, right? As a husband, you take a few, you put them in the bank, and then you get to have a few of your own. So cats is a lot. I think you could probably get you could get Pebble Beach out of cats.
I'm guessing they
This
weren't
is
cheap, right?
Well, it's more like the commitment. It's not like,
it's
hey,
the
I did this thing that's a favor for a week. This is, you got 15 years of catness in your house. Now.
Over a lifetime, that the cost is going to just add up anyways,
The
right?
cost and the headaches, man.
And
The responsibility.
I know. I mean, we've got another baby on the way already.
Yeah.
4 fish. You saw that up there.
I did. The cats and the fish are going to make a nice pair, I think.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Oh,
Cats are evil, right? Like, I like cats, but a friend of mine gave me a good analogy about cats versus dogs. And if you have a dog, if you were shrunk down magically and you were a foot tall and you gave orders to your dog would still listen to you. But if you were a foot tall and you tried to talk to your cat would just fucking eat you. They don't care. They do not care.
don't tell me what to
They
do.
have no respect.
Nom.
Nothing.
Yeah. Well, there you go. So yeah, we got cats. Got a baby on the way.
It's a lot. It's a lot of change. It's
gonna be a full house.
household.
There you go. So I guess that's the end of family time.
Okay.
I'm gonna have I've got an idea already for a jingle for family time. We'll be like, it's family time. Punch it in.
Oh.
All the kids are gonna be yelling
Yeah.
something. Family time.
I like it.
Time. Woo.
All right.
Anyway.
Well, that'll be season 2.
Yeah. Hopefully
Episode 2?
Episode 3.
I'm gonna have a little
episode
sip of
2.
this, by the way.
Yeah, cheers, man. I'm glad this has worked out.
Yeah.
Wayne Gretzky, eh?
Wayne Gretzky whiskey is my first go at it. We won't tell anyone what time it is right now.
No. Nobody needs to know.
It's early evening.
It probably looks dark in here anyways.
I think so.
Yeah. Not bad, eh?
It's delicious.
Yeah. Jamie got me that for Father's Day, I think. Kind of cool.
Yeah. I love Wayne Gretzky. He was my boyhood
one.
idol.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything he does, good in my books.
Well, then you must love Elias Pettersson. The next.
I know. Like, oh.
That was just like.
Are we going to spend this whole time talking about the Canucks?
We're moving on.
Because I could if you want.
We are moving on to music.
All right, sure.
There is a staple question I'm going to ask all my guests. And so for myself, I was like, I can make this really easy. I can have a list of like 20 of my favorite songs, and I'm just going to name a different one every episode of my favorite song of all time.
Okay.
But so you have to just pick one.
Of those?
No.
I have to pick my own.
Yeah.
Favorite song of all time?
Of all time. I don't care what mood you're in.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. Just, you got to pick one.
That's, it's tough for me because I have a new favorite song almost every week.
Yeah.
So let's see. If I'm going to pick a favorite song, I'm going to pick something I've liked for a long time. I don't want to seem like it's too current because I might hate that song in a week.
Yeah.
So I'll go with, I think probably the band that has been closest to my playlist for most of my life is the Eagles.
Yeah, okay. Cool.
And if I'm going to pick one, I'd say it's probably Lion Eyes. I heard it on the way here. So it's kind of
nice.
fresh and resonating in my head still, but I love that song.
Yeah.
Do you ever
that's
play
a
that
beautiful-
song?
I think I have. It's not added into the repertoire, but I think someone requested it and I pulled it off decently.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a good tune. Okay.
It's a good song. You know what? I'll tell you what I like about the song if you want. I'll give you some justification for
please
why
do.
it's one of my favorites. Like I think the Eagles as a band are they're a really cool band. Like they've got everyone in that band seemed like they were a really good musician. They all had really good vocal abilities, and the harmonies in that song are just incredible. And then it's like this wild story, right? Like it's the story of this woman going through this crazy life change, and it was written by Glenn Frey, which like is a guy to write a story like that. Like it's an epic song. I think there's like 5 verses of that song.
Yeah.
It just keeps going on, all from the perspective of this woman. I thought, wow, that's really interesting as a guy. Do you think you could write a song from the perspective of a woman?
Yeah, I don't know. It's tough to know what goes on in their heads, right?
It is.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. I've never really thought that deeply about the song, so I'll have to throw it on and really think about it.
Can I flip it back?
Yeah.
Give me one of your top 20 then.
So I'm starting at number 1.
Okay, let's go with the top.
The best song ever written and performed by one of my favorite bands, Third Eye Blind.
Okay.
And it's Semi-Charmed Life.
I could have guessed that because it's the
probably
only
could
song they ever put out, wasn't it?
No, man. They have so many good. They've got a couple more big ones. Jumper is another big one.
Don't know it.
Yes, you do.
I don't think so.
I wish you would step back from
Oh,
my
right.
ledge. Oh, I'm not. I'm not even allowed to sing that on here.
Oh,
That could
why?
get flagged.
Oh, really?
They were like, even if you sing 5 seconds of your favorite song, but that wasn't 5 seconds.
No, it wasn't. You're good.
Okay. And how's it
So-
going to be is another one. I'll play them for you afterwards.
Sure. Yes. Now that you say that, you're right.
But so back to Semi-Charmed Life.
What do you like about it?
It's written about drugs. It's sex. And
Music staples.
it's great.
Yeah.
And just the drum intro.
Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun.
I
So good.
I like
I
that.
would
I
never
remember
turn-
that song was a catchy song on the radio, and
Yeah.
I tapped my toes to it once upon a time. You know what happened with me and is Third Eye Blind, right?
Yeah.
I saw them perform live on a TV show once, and they were god awful.
Don't ruin it for me.
Have you
That's
ever
fine.
seen
That's
them
fine.
live?
But no, I have not.
You sing that song live 8,000 times better than the real lead singer. I don't know what his name is.
That's a lot of thousands.
Yeah.
Well, it was produced well.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's good on the radio. Anyway, I went
Okay,
through.
so that's one.
Yeah, that's one. So
Okay.
I'm gonna go through. Next will be my second favorite. I'm not gonna lie. I haven't even put this list together yet.
Okay.
But I've got a week to do it before the next guest
right.
comes in.
I'd like to come and debate your number 2 song at some point.
You're just gonna smash all my dreams. You're like, yeah, it's pretty good, but you ever seen those guys live?
Speaking of live, what are your thoughts on bands? I mean, I don't know. Has Third Eye Blind done a reunion tour?
They just played. They're still playing.
Yeah.
I know they did like the Calgary Stampede like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And I think they did one in Vancouver.
Okay.
So they're still doing their
What do
thing.
you think about bands still doing their thing? Like my mom literally went to see the Eagles 2 weeks ago.
I think it's fine. It's like it's their job, right? They got to
Yeah.
keep doing their thing. Otherwise, what else are they going to do?
Would you still be as keen to see Third Eye Blind today as you would have like in '96?
No, there's like, and I'll admit that they're not a band that you're like, I just got to go see them.
Yeah.
I think with the Eagles, it's
They're interesting. I went to see the Eagles in.
because they're fantastic
Yeah.
musicians.
I went to see them in
Fantastic
probably
singers.
1995, and even then I thought it was a little bit weird because I always think when I would like to see the Eagles is like in 1977 with the long hair and the mustaches and
the drugs and
just
the
the
sex.
drug-soaked parties that they were involved in. When you see them when they're on stage and between songs talking about their grandkids and stuff, it kind of ruins it a little bit for me. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
I can see that, I guess.
Yeah.
But, well, there you go.
Favorite song?
That's the other segment is the best songs of all time. So we got Lion Eyes and Semi-Charmed Life.
Asterisk next to that one.
I don't know if you saw this, what I wrote down. We're going to get into a bit of Christery here.
Oh, no, I didn't see that.
Chris Bertram history, a little Christery.
I like it. Play on words.
So you already said born in Calgary.
Actually born in Toronto, oddly enough.
Oh.
And then moved to Calgary when I was a youngster.
How young are we talking?
I was 7 years old.
So you should be a Leafs fan, I think.
In fact,
Were your parents a Leafs fan?
my very first NHL game was a Leafs game.
Yeah.
And my great grandfather actually played for the Toronto Maple Leafs. I don't know if you knew that.
I think you might have mentioned that.
Yeah. The very first year that the Toronto Maple Leafs were ever actually a professional franchise, he was on that team.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a cool story, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I can get behind the Leafs.
Still a soft spot.
They've been so bad for so long. If they went to the Stanley Cup this year, I would be all over that bandwagon. Though.
Yeah.
Totally.
I'm fine with that. I'm fine with bandwagons. Like it's fun. That's
Totally.
what sports are for.
Yeah.
Like Seahawks, I jump on the bandwagon anytime. I was never a diehard fan, and then they were doing well, and I was like, sweet.
Yeah, I have a
They're just
Golden
down the
State
road.
Warriors jersey now. Like
Now, don't
that's
even get me
bandwagon.
started.
yeah. Oh, don't tell me you like LeBron.
That's bad. No, I just Golden State Warriors.
Oh, they're so easy to love.
Oh, yeah, let's just keep going here.
Okay, we'll talk basketball at a different time.
Little Christery. 7 years old. You moved to Cowtown.
Yep.
What happens from there?
Well, It's been a long time since then, Andrew.
I guess.
But we'll fast forward. I grew up there,
Yeah,
went to
fast
high
forward.
school there,
That's fine.
and then I moved out of Calgary because I'd kind of had enough of Calgary, and my friends had all moved out to a group of my friends had moved out to Vancouver. We played a lot of lacrosse when I was a kid, hockey and lacrosse, and
Yep.
we were all pretty decent at lacrosse, and but there wasn't a lot of past about the age of 16 organized lacrosse. So a few of my friends decided, hey, we're going to move out to Vancouver and try out for a junior A lacrosse team. So they did that and they made it. They played for the Richmond Outlaws and they said, you guys should come out too. So the next summer, a couple more of us went out, ended up trying out for this junior A lacrosse team, made it.
Yeah.
Lived here for 2.5 years.
You played junior A lacrosse?
Yeah, I did.
Right on.
Yeah, little
That's
known
sweet.
fact.
I know.
In the Christery.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did. And then at some point, I was getting into my early 20s and kind of always knew I wanted to go back to school at some point. And, I just decided that it was time when I finished playing junior that I wanted to maybe pursue something different and got back, went home to Calgary and enrolled in university and ended up going down to Las Vegas and went to UNLV for 4 years. And
Yeah, okay.
And then
Did you go to university in Calgary?
I did. I went to Mount Royal.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you went down to
Then I
Vegas.
transferred down to the Runnin' Rebels, UNLV.
Yeah, UNLV.
Yeah, and then went from there to Simon Fraser, moved up to this part of the
You
world.
did a lot of schooling.
I did 10 years straight. From the time I moved back to Calgary, I went for 10 consecutive years and ended up with a PhD in 2002, I guess.
I feel like we're pretty similar, a lot of similar interests.
Yes.
We both love sports, music, hockey, golf,
Right.
whatever it is. We're both pretty good looking guys. The biggest difference is
That goes without saying, I think, or showing.
I suck at school, and you must have been pretty good at school.
Interestingly enough, I sucked at school too,
Really?
Andrew. Yeah, when I graduated from high school, I literally graduated with probably about a 50% average in grade 12. I barely
This is
squeaked
weird.
out. Yeah.
So, and I killed it through high school.
Ugh,
Like,
not
just
a good predictor.
I mean, it was in Agassiz.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I was A honors all the way through.
Really?
And then, yeah, I thought that was.
I mean,
pretty
I don't
easy.
say
you
it like
just
that. You're a
show up and
smart
whatever.
guy. I'm not
I guess,
surprised
but
to know
then
that.
got to college where I met you.
Yeah.
And I was just like, can't do it. Cannot concentrate. Can't put my mind to this.
Yeah, and I was kind of the opposite. I really, when I was 16, I just was all about hanging out with my friends and meeting girls and just doing other things. I just kind of lost interest in going to school, but I always knew that I could do it. I just didn't ever feel like I had the inspiration or the drive or really a purpose for it. And then, once I decided that I wanted to do it, and which is when I got back into school and went to university when I was, I think, 21, I started really like earnestly. Here's another story. I went to Mount Royal straight out of high school for one semester and flunked out. They kicked me out.
There
My
we go.
GPA
See,
was
we are pretty similar.
0.6.
Oh, that's
I
rough.
always tell people that story too because, when I tell my classes that story now, so I teach now and have been for 17 years. And, it's not necessarily about, having this sort of fixed ability to be good in school. It's all about work and perseverance. I think that's true of most things. So,
Yeah. So this is perfect because now we're at the time where I enter your life.
Right.
We've gotten to, you went through school,
yeah, I get my
PhD.
first faculty gig.
working at the University College of the Fraser Valley.
Right.
as
Still
it
had the
was
C back then.
Yeah. I didn't know, I think I met you first through the golf team and then I went into your classes.
Right. Yeah. So, so I was teaching at the school, and then a really strange series of events happened, and I was friends with our athletic director at the time, who happened to be a Calgary Flames fan, by the way,
Yeah. What was his name?
Mark Kozak.
Mark Kozak.
Yeah. His ex was like married to someone who was in the Flames ownership group. So every time the Flames would come to town, he'd get these really sweet tickets. So he used to take me. So we were pretty good friends, and he didn't like the golf coach. And so right before
Sheldon, right?
yeah, right before you guys were going to your first tournament, they got into a big blow up, and he fired him. And so
I didn't even know this. I
Yeah.
didn't know what happened. I was like, I got on the team with this guy and
Yeah.
now this new.
yeah, and so he asked
guy
me, I
shows
think
up.
over a couple of beers one night, I didn't have kids yet or anything, and he's like, I know you're really into golf. You've got this golf research lab, and I just fired the golf coach. Would you be willing to like chaperone the team to their first event? And I said, sure, yeah, that sounds like fun. I like coaching. I'm kind of into that stuff. I really like golf. So yeah, I'll do that for a weekend. Why not? So I did it for that weekend. That's where I got to get to know you. And then I'll tell a little bit of the fast forward. Later that year, he was fired by the university.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of became the golf coach.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And it was awesome.
yeah, I speaking of your illustrious collegiate golf career, I looked up your stats.
Oh, no, you didn't.
I
did you?
so, yeah.
I
Do you want to know what your tournament scoring average was in the 05-06 season?
Oh, man.
Guesses?
I guess. I would guess like 82.
Yeah, 82.6, I think it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 82.6. You started a bit.
What a good guess.
Yeah, you know yourself.
There you go.
I figured you'd probably say like 72 or something, but
No,
you were
I
honest
knew,
with yourself.
I knew I was not that good. I always say I got in at the base camp of the team when you guys were just starting to get good.
Yes.
And so
Our
scratched
team
in.
that year was sort of about having fun, and if there was an award
get
for
it
who
that.
had the most fun, that would have been you. So you were the face of the program in our sort of more let's have fun on the road kind of years. But
that was awesome.
But yeah, so you were 82.6. You started the year, I think, with an 85, 86 in the first event that I was coaching at. And then we had a home event at Chilliwack that year, and you cracked 80. You shot 79.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I was pretty happy.
And then you
with
were
that.
on a really nice trajectory. The scores were coming down. Then we went to our last event, which was in Nanaimo. And you fired a 92 on the last day of the season. I
that's
think you
not
just
good,
ran
is
out
it?
of gas.
Yeah. Maybe a big night before or something.
Yeah, you know what? We still won a bronze medal in the conference.
We did.
Yeah.
And we got to go to nationals.
We did.
Like, that's what I was all about. I was like, I think I could get a couple cool trips out of this.
Yeah.
You know, play some competitive golf.
Yeah, we
which
went
I
out
never
to
really
Windsor
did.
or something, right?
Yeah, we went to Windsor.
Yeah.
And then we went down to Vegas.
Yes, we did. That's right. Played some nice golf courses down there.
Yeah, we did.
I think we went to a baseball game too, didn't we?
Yeah. I don't have the greatest memory. I've got a lot of songs up here.
Yeah.
And so that takes over everything. So you would definitely remember a lot more about my career at UFV than I would.
Yeah, like I remember you didn't like to practice a whole lot.
More of a field player, right?
You were more of a field player, as I like to say. Yeah, you just kind of got out there and hit it. You just hit it and chase it and go hit it again. But you were having fun.
Still
and
do.
Yeah, that was the thing I remember about you. You always had a smile on your face, no matter if it was going to be a 79 or a 99. You were having fun. You like to have fun.
The one I remember, and maybe this is vaguely in my memory. I know we ended up at a bar. I think there was a bar underneath the hotel we were staying at.
Yes.
One night, and I went down there with Corey Timar, Paul Hickey. I think it was
Kyle?
us three. Yeah, I don't know if Kyle. Yeah, he probably came down with us.
Yeah.
Mario Miniacci. So we went down to this bar, and Paul was checking out this girl all night or something, and she had a boyfriend or whatever, and I think he pissed off the girl's boyfriend, and we were just standing outside. I think Corey went in to get Paul or something, and then this girl's boyfriend comes walking out. I'm just standing, not doing anything, sidelines with a bunch of other people waiting outside the bar, and the boyfriend walks by and just punches me in the face and takes a little chip off my tooth.
I remember that
Which
now.
I chipped my tooth.
Yeah.
And I just got it repaired the other week because you can. So it was over here, but it's all good now.
Wow, I'd completely forgotten.
On the
that.
golf team, hey?
Yes.
I'm always like, that's one of the most badass golf stories.
Rough
you'll
and
hear, I would
tumble
think.
road trips with
Yeah,
the
we
golf
we
team.
were the rough and tumble team, I think.
Absolutely.
So that was good, and I think I remember doing karaoke down.
I
in
remember
Vegas.
this is where this was my first introduction to you as a musician.
Oh yeah, this is.
You used to say, yeah, I play guitar and I think we're going to start a band at some point. And every time I hear that, I'm like, oh God, really? Because I hate karaoke with a passion. And then I remember watching you sing and I was like, wow, that was a little shocking. You're actually good.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. And then, so that was, I guess, maybe one of those forks in the road where
It was
after
and
nationals in Vegas, you decided to go hardcore into music or what?
so like being on the golf team, it probably made me work as hard as I could at school, which still wasn't that hard. But I was like, okay, I need to get at least this GPA or whatever to stay on the golf team. And I was like, I really want to be on the golf team. I don't really care about school.
Mm-hmm.
But so I did that. Then the next year, you guys got quite a bit better, and I didn't make it.
Right. Did you try out the second year? Did I actually cut you?
I think you said I could be a red shirt or something, kind of.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, pfft,
That
whatever,
was my
Chris.
nice kiss off, I think.
So yeah, I didn't quite make it. I played. They started up like a club hockey team. I played on that, and we had a few good times. We traveled around a little bit, made the hockey team, but then just started going downhill. And then I joined this band,
Yeah.
Pardon My Striptease.
Yes.
And so that started taking up a lot of my time.
Great name, by the way.
Thank you.
What's the story on that name?
They said they were just looking at the TV guide and it was scrolling through. They had the name before I joined.
Oh, okay.
And it was Pardon the Interruption. And I think there's a movie called Striptease, and they kind of threw it together.
And when you can abbreviate it PMS, that's pretty catchy.
Yeah, at least it's catchy that way. Yeah. Nobody could get Pardon My Striptease right, but they remembered PMS.
That's it.
So I joined this band. It was taking up a lot of my time. If I was in class, I was thinking about the gigs or thinking about songs or writing lyrics and stuff. And so I would sign up for whatever the minimum is. I think you have to sign up for 4 or 5 classes. And
3.
by the end, I would drop 2 of them. So I guess by your knowledge, that would put me down to like 1 class I was actually going to, just barely scraping by so that I could get my student loan check.
Right.
And so that kept coming in, and pretty much one semester, I spent my whole student loan on this trip to New York with the band.
Yeah.
We actually played at Carnegie Hall.
What?
Yeah, you didn't know this?
Actually,
you probably,
yes,
you
I
might
do
recall
remember
something.
this now.
It's not. We played. So one of the guys in the band had a teacher at college who played the kayagum, which is a traditional Korean instrument. So she needed a band to back her up at Carnegie Hall. So these guys were playing music
it's
with
all
her.
coming back to me now. I do
And then I
remember
got to sing
this.
a couple songs out there, but we just took the trip to New York and sightseeing and stuff. And so I spent all my student loan on that, and then
That's
eventually
so cool, though. You played Carnegie Hall.
dropped out. Yeah.
I just watched 2 nights ago. I watched a Dan Mangan concert from Carnegie Hall.
Yeah.
What a cool venue that must be.
Yeah, it was pretty sweet. It was yeah, we had a good time out there.
So from there, where does it go?
So from there, I think I was in another semester and again dropped out of a couple classes, was down to like 1 class. And then I was like, obviously this isn't for me. Stop wasting time and money. And just kind of got a decent job doing support work with disabled adults. I was doing that for like 3 or 4 years as I was still with the band. And then the band thing kind of turned into me doing more cover gigs as a soloist and starting to make some money doing that.
Where did your love of music come from?
I guess my mom, she's Irish.
Yeah.
So
Play a lot of music around the house, sing a lot.
Yeah, she did. And I started singing in choir, like at the Catholic church, and then in band. Like I started playing the drums in high school band.
Oh.
And then I was singing and playing the drums at some of our concerts and stuff. And then kind of took off from there. Got my guitar in grade 11 and just started playing off YouTube and stuff.
What was your earliest favorite song?
I think the first song I ever learned to play was "Time of Your Life" by Green Day.
Nice.
Loved that one.
Yeah.
It's a good tune. And I think I would say the first recollection of like a favorite song that I would play all the time was "Lightning Crashes" by Live. It'll be on the list somewhere.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, and that's
I won't give you a hard time about those 2 choices, by the way. I think those are legit.
Cool. Okay. Because my buddies would always make me sing that song over and over and over. So that was that's kind of where I came from.
They were a good band.
They had
Really
a couple
good
good
band
tunes
in the 90s.
Yeah. I love 90s music because I have 3 older sisters, and so that's all they were listening to was 90s rock stuff. Although Michelle was listening to like my oldest sister was listening to the good like 90s grunge or rock.
Yeah.
Carolyn was listening to a lot of like church music, like worship stuff. She was the good kid.
Yes.
And Lisa was all into like the pop music, like NSYNC, Backstreet Boys,
Right.
that kind of stuff. She was really into. So that's
You
kind
fit somewhere in that spectrum.
I just kind of took. So this is why I know a ton of grunge. I know a ton of worship songs.
Yeah.
And I know a ton of pop songs from back then, so I
Right.
can pull a lot of that off. So I guess it helped. Yeah, and my mom and dad listened to a lot of Garth Brooks.
Okay.
Shania Twain.
I was about to say, where does the country come from then?
Yeah, I don't know why they were such big country fans. But yeah, so that's kind of where the wide variety and love of music came from.
It's funny how much of our musical taste, at least mine too, came from the stuff my parents used to listen to.
Yeah.
So I grew up in a different decade than you. And when I grew up, my parents were, listening to a lot of music. Like my dad loved the Eagles and he loved the Doobie Brothers. And my mom, I remember she used to play, do you know Carole King? She had this record called Tapestry, came out in the 70s at some point. My mom used to play it all the time. And I actually still have it. I found the original vinyl that she had. I have it at my house. Incredible record, like just amazing music. I think the 70s was a really cool decade for music.
I think so too. And I mean, like my mom brought a lot of the Brit pop, like the Beatles and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I listened to a lot of that as well. But I didn't, not much 70s stuff, I don't think. Like that's kind of something I missed
Yeah.
growing up.
It was a weird decade. It was like
And-
the decade of disco and Led Zeppelin and
Yeah.
the Sex Pistols. Like a lot of shit was going on in the
There was
70s.
some awesome music there.
Yeah.
And as a professional musician, I always say like, I didn't grow up with that great of music. Like I never listened to Led Zeppelin or
Yeah.
or
But you
anything
had the
like
90s.
That,
That was a cool decade.
it
too.
was pretty cool, but I was more on the radio pop stuff, and
Yeah.
and now I'm getting more into these like really cool bands, like musical bands,
Right.
which being a professional musician, a lot of people would think, oh, you must be into some really good music. I was like, I wasn't really.
Yeah.
Now I'm getting
Third
into
Eye
like,
Blind
Led
as a
Zeppelin.
case
Exactly right.
study.
Like me, I was like Third Eye Blind, Our Lady Peace,
Right.
You know, Sugar Ray, these kind of like pop
Yeah.
bands that aren't really that great or
Yes.
musical.
But now, speaking of 90s, I know you're really into Dave Matthews now.
Yes, now I'm
That's
like finding
quintessential
actual,
90s.
musical like geniuses like
Yeah.
Dave Matthews or like Led Zeppelin stuff. Like I'm really getting into that stuff now because I feel I owe it to myself if I'm going to call myself a professional musician.
Yeah. Yeah. Dig into some of those people.
Yeah. So there you go. Yeah, there's a bit of music, a bit of I guess we were on Chris history
Turned
history
into
there.
Music history.
Turned
I
into
guess.
how we met, and
Yeah.
now we're actually friends. I'd like to think.
I would say it's safe to say that. I've been to your wedding. That's got to make us friends, right?
Yeah, I was hoping Kara and the kids could come out, but
We're going skiing today.
you are.
Yeah.
Oh, let's fire this up. Let's try calling Frank. It's your buddy Frank's
so
birthday.
the reason we're going skiing is my buddy Frank Bryce. It's his birthday, and I'm not sure how old he's turning today, but we're meeting him up at Hemlock, aka Sasquatch, for a little night skiing tonight.
So we're gonna call him, and no matter what happens, we're just gonna start singing. Happy
Okay.
birthday, because it's his
I have to
birthday.
sing.
Yeah, we can back off a bit so it's not too loud.
Should we harmonize?
Honestly, no. If he picks up, we just start. If it goes to voicemail, just start.
Are you gonna say?
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Franklin. Happy birthday to you.
Hey, Frank.
That's beautiful.
You're on the podcast.
I'm on the podcast. Thanks, boys.
I got Chris Bertram live in studio here, and we thought we should give you a call.
I've never had a professional singer actually sing me happy birthday. That was amazing.
Yeah, well, Chris has just started taking it up, but he
I
sounded
was
pretty
also
good, right?
involved there, Frank.
What's that, Chris?
I was also involved. I was harmonizing with
Oh, you
Andrew
were-
there.
You were in tune there, buddy. Like you guys sounded amazing.
Thanks, buddy.
So thanks for the invite up to Hemlock. I'm stoked to come up and celebrate with you guys.
You coming up? We're gonna be there at 4:00.
No, I got stuff to do. I gotta finish cleaning the house.
Frank, how old are you today?
I'm 38.
38. Never kissed a girl.
Oh yeah, little hip. I love the hip
Never
too.
kissed a girl.
Yeah. Well, man, we just wanted to make a quick call to say happy birthday, and hopefully we'll get you out here, on the podcast sometime.
Yeah, I'll be out there. I'll be seeing you next week, so maybe we'll do it then.
Buy you a beer tonight, buddy.
Okay, take it easy, man.
Take care.
Okay, bye.
All right.
Nice work on that song, buddy.
That's good.
Yeah, that was pretty
It's
good.
not the first time we've sung together. I've gotten up drunken with you and Dylan before.
Yeah, at that white party, hey?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good time. So back to a bit of the golf team. What's
Yeah.
going on these days with it? I mean,
Oh, just a little thing called the best team in the country.
yeah, like you
Yeah.
guys have, how many national championships have you won?
We got 5.
You have 5.
5, yeah.
Ever since I left, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, that was rock bottom.
Yeah. I'd like to call it ground zero.
Yeah, it was the turning point.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was where we realized that we needed to get serious. No, so what after that first year and I became the golf coach, we just kind of or I made a decision that if I'm going to be the golf coach, I'm going to try to do something and like actually get serious, start recruiting players if I can, try to get us a better schedule. And that sort of started an arc that has kind of been on the rise, I guess, ever since then. And, so right now we're defending national champions and ranked #1 in Canada, which is really, really cool.
And I
Never
feel
thought
like
we'd get here.
You just started doing stuff that no one else was really doing on like the training and all this new technology that you started implementing. Is that right? Like
Well,
you had
part of it was like I said, I'm
golf
not a
lab.
golf professional. Like if anything, if I'm a golf pro at all, the pro part stands for professor. So I had a research lab and we had launch monitors and we had a bunch of other stuff that the players got to use a lot. But frankly, I think the biggest piece to the success is that we just happen to live in this really crazy area where there's a lot of really good players. I mean, we have 2 guys from Abbotsford on the PGA Tour, and then behind that, there's just a whole bunch of really talented golfers that happen to live and grow up in this area, and they wanted a place to play golf, and so we started getting serious about our schedule and giving them better competitive opportunities, and that started a bit of a ball of momentum where now I still don't recruit a whole heck of a lot. Occasionally, I get out and try to lure players here, but they are coming to us now, which is really pretty awesome. They call and say, "What do we got to do to get on this team?" and makes my life pretty easy, actually.
Yeah, that's sweet. One of the newest things that I'm assuming, are you starting to bring this over to the golf team, or did it start at the golf team?
You're talking about the drone?
The drone and you're studying of flow state.
Yes.
Can you explain a bit of that, like starting at what flow
Sure.
state is?
Yeah. So my academic area, so what I teach at UFV and what I do research on is something called human motor learning. And if you don't know that term, that's not surprising. I don't think my mom still to this day really knows what I do.
I think I took a class and I don't know what it is.
Yeah, right. So to just use a different bit of language, it's skill acquisition, how we learn stuff, right? Mm-hmm. So how do we learn things, and then maybe what can we do to get people to learn more quickly and more optimally. And one of the really cool new areas of study in learning is that if we're in a flow state, we learn at a really accelerated rate. And then we also, if we're in flow when we're competing, we tend to have a better likelihood of success. And so that's the area of flow, and flow states is something that I'm super, super keen about. And we've got this new piece of technology that kind of allows us to tap into it. But to answer the question, what is a flow state? I think everybody probably is familiar with what it used to be called, which was the zone. Mm-hmm. So if you're an athlete or a musician, let's say, you're probably pretty familiar with the concept of it. Like, I'm sure you've been in the zone or flow states many times in your life. Everybody has. But athletes in particular know what it's all about. And it's just this place where everything seems easy, and you just seem to be able to, whatever it is you're trying to achieve just seems to come out of you supernaturally, and you're not thinking about it. And it's where everything on that one day or that one moment seems to go right, and it's super easy. But when we started switching over, calling it flow states from the zone, is when we started to be able to understand actually what's happening in your brain when you're in flow.
Yep.
So we can measure it. And one of the things, the way the drone works is that it works with a headset. So you put this headset on, sort of like the ones we're wearing here, but it has an electrode that sits on your forehead, and it measures. It's like a microphone for your brain, okay? Mm-hmm. So it measures what your brain is outputting. And so right now, both of our brains are giving off electrical energy. And if we're super lazy or really tired, the brain waves that come out are really slow. Yeah. But if we're super anxious or fearful or nervous, then our brainwaves come out really, really fast. So where flow exists is somewhere in between there. And there's a very specific bandwidth that flow states exist in. For anyone who's interested, it's between about 8 and 12 hertz or cycles per second. So how many of these pulses are coming out of your brain in any given second? Then what they found is that when people are in a flow state, it's between about 8 and 12 hertz.
Wow.
Yeah. So the way that the drone works then is we measure what's coming out of the brain, and then when you get your brain into somewhere between 8 and 12 hertz, it sends a signal off to this drone, and you start to be able to fly this little helicopter around the room using nothing but the power of your mind.
That's unreal.
Yeah. It's super cool.
So is it kind of like, obviously you can't be thinking about a million things at once.
No.
You've got to be focused.
Yeah.
it's concentrating on what you're doing, mindfulness kind of thing. I saw that.
It is mindfulness.
Yeah.
But it's mindfulness on a certain state of mind. I think when people talk about mindfulness these days, they typically are talking about, just being aware of where your mind is. And that's a big part of this, but it's not trying to get you into, say, if you're in yoga, mindfulness training,
meditative.
you're getting more into a meditative state, which is really slow. It's about 4 to 6 hertz.
Okay.
So your brain's working, you're very chilled out, right?
So yeah, you still got to be aggressive almost. And
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not flow is not meditation.
No.
It's part meditation. It's just a little bit faster than that though, but it's not so fast that it gets into heavy duty thought. So when you're in flow, you're super chilled, but you're also really engaged in a particular moment. That's the experience of it.
Moment.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if you're thinking a lot, thought is a flow killer.
Mm-hmm.
So I do some work with Canada Snowboard. Now I've had them on the drone. I've had some of the golfers on the drone, and what we do is, first of all, we teach them by way of showing them that they can fly this thing, that it's real.
yeah.
So, one of the
cool.
biggest problems with mindfulness and flow states particularly is, if you're super excited or upset or pissed off about something and someone says, you know what, buddy, just relax. Like that doesn't work, right?
Don't fucking touch me. Yeah. I can't relax.
Nobody try telling that to Jamie sometimes,
Yeah,
especially, 2 months, 3 months pregnant.
I know.
It doesn't work to just say, hey, why don't you just relax, babe?
Yeah.
Because most people don't believe or know that they have some control over what's coming out of their mind in a given time and place. What this shows you is that, holy shit, this drone is flying, and I'm doing that because I'm in a certain state of mind.
Yeah.
So we start there, and then we try to stress people out, and then say, okay, now you're stressed out.
Get back
Flick
to
the
the
drone
zone.
on, and I'm going to start counting now. Let's see how long it takes you to get this thing back in the air. And once you've trained with it a little while, it's like 5 seconds. And then you're like, wow, you see what you did there? You went from anxiety and stress and fear, which is only one state of mind, into another one. And you can choose.
Yeah.
I think we've heard that before, but when you see it for real and you see something actually move and fly, it really drives home the fact that you can control it. And that's kind of the game changer.
So we're going to try this with music, which I think you said the first time you'll be trying this with.
Yeah, live experiment. I believe that music is a flow trigger.
Yeah.
Like I know that I haven't tried it myself even, but I have a hunch that if I put on some of my favorite music and put the headset on and the electrode on my brain, I'm pretty sure I would get into a flow state, but I haven't actually got that far yet. And so the question we're kind of asking today is, if you're
Live
actually
music.
playing music, can you fly a drone? What happens in the mind of a musician when they're playing music and getting into the musician flow state, which is a real thing. 100%.
So I'm assuming I'm going to be picking a song that I'm really passionate about.
Yeah.
That I really dig, and it's going to have to be an original song. I think that would be the best way to do it, and then it helps on.
It's not going to be Third Eye Blind. I don't think we're going to fly.
It's not going to be Third Eye Blind.
Just the vibes off of my brain are going to crash that thing.
So we're going to try it. I'm going to put the headset on. I'm going to play one of my tunes.
Love it.
And see if I can get focused enough. This is what I've been worried about. I'm like, I freaking mile a minute sometimes. Like I cannot shut my brain off.
Yeah.
It's, I know a lot of people will be surprised to hear that. I think they're like, dude, you're so chill or whatever. But a lot of the time I'm just like, oh my God, okay, I got this music going on. I got this podcast. I got to go to work. Got to take care of the fish. Got to take care of the cats. Got to take care of the kids.
Right.
So I got to try and shut all that off, focus on this song, which I think will be
I'll
pretty easy to do if I can get into it.
I'll give you a bit of advice. Don't try.
No, okay, I
If
will
you
not try to do that, then.
this is what my experience is you cannot try to fly this thing. You just have to say, I don't care if it flies or not. That's the irony.
drone.
Yeah, fuck that drone.
Fuck it.
And then it flies, which is crazy.
So we're gonna try this, you guys. This is kind of getting towards the end. Thanks for being on, man.
My absolute pleasure. This has been fun.
We're gonna set up this drone thing and put it on my YouTube channel. So if you guys are just listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or whatever, head to my YouTube channel. Just search Andrew Christopher. Subscribe if you don't mind, and then you'll find the drone video. Hopefully we get this thing flying. And I'll be back next week with someone else, I think. Or it might just be me. Hopefully I can find something. This is going to be tough to live up to. I think we went a pretty long ways
Dude,
here.
you're natural at this. You're going to kill it. This is going to be
Hey,
fun.
you think
I
you
can't
could
wait
help
to
me
listen.
get Lep or Hadwin on here or something.
Oh, you want a professional golfer now?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I got the coach now. I just want someone kind of famous.
Well, Hadwin's a bit too famous right now.
He is,
He's
I
really
think,
killing it out there. But Lep would be
love
an
James Lep. He's a
interesting
good guy.
conversation.
Yeah, I think we could have a good time.
Oh yeah. Okay.
But nonetheless, thanks, Chris Bertram. We'll I guess we just shook hands. Hey, damn, that's gonna make the video look real awkward. But we'll leave you guys with this. It's been the AC Show. Subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Let's go fly that drone, man.
Woo! With Andrew Christopher, your host. It's the Andrew Christopher Show.
Every Sunday on YouTube.
But really we call it the AC Show. Yeah, we really call it the AC Show. Really call it the AC Show.
Yeah,
It's the AC Show.
It's the AC Show with AC, your host. Check it out.
That was awesome.